Gonna let some more people get in. Then we're gonna get this thing going real quick. Hopefully some people come on here real quick so we can chop it up while I'm driving to my next stop. It is a Monday though. Might have some folks working. What's up, Coach McGee? It's good with you. We're gonna see if we get just a couple more folks in. Give them just we're gonna give them about 2 more red lights. And if they ain't on by then we're gonna have to get down with the get down. Doing good, man. I can't complain. Out here turning some corners, taking care of some business. You know, when the spring hits, you know, it gives you that natural inclination to want to move, make some stuff happen. You know, you've been frozen for the winter, and then that sun start to come out some more, and things start to come back to life. So I can't afford to burn up all my time. Just a real quick nugget here. Some of you may have heard about the Keys of Solomon. I appreciate that. Let me over. Some of y'all may have heard about the Keys of Solomon. And I want to give you some of y'all may know this already, what that really means. But I want to, for those who don't, maybe I can give you a little bit of insight. You hear about the greater and lesser keys of Solomon. And one thing that I'm a big proponent of is using the understanding of language and using your human body. What's up, Sister Keisha? Using the human body, language, and every other palette that you can to put together this masterpiece of and the masterpiece is understanding. Okay, so when we look at Solomon's keys, or the keys of Solomon, key coincides with the word clavicle. Okay, and if you've probably seen some celebrity or some an entertainer or some athlete, and they have a ceremony where they're given the key to the city. Well, that's actually has a deeper meaning than what we think. When I was a child, I used to think, damn, that means this motherfucker got a key to everybody's door. He can go everywhere. But it's got a deeper esoteric meaning. When you have the key means understanding. But from an etymological standpoint, key and clavicle are the same words, or they come from the same root. And on your body, your clavicle is this, what you call your collarbone. That's a more familiar term for people. Your collarbone, see? These right here. And if you look at how things are structured on your body, you can get an understanding of what they mean in an esoteric manner. So if we're talking about the keys of Solomon, and the keys coincide with these clavicles, right, or the collarbone, then what does a clavicle slash collarbone lead to? It sits beneath the throat. You see, it leads to the neck. And then the neck supports what? The head. So the clavicles, or the keys of Solomon, also are dealing with the skull and bones. The skull and bones is a multi-layered symbol. I told you in another video that the bones literally are your femur bones. You know, the upper, which are the biggest bones in your body, and the strongest bones in your body are your femurs, your two thigh bones. But it's also talking about crossing the clavicles, crossing past the clavicles. So, because once you pass your clavicles, you are now going to what is the temple, the above temple. You have an above temple and you have a below temple. The temple below, you know, well, you got several. It can be your stomach, that's temple. And it's also the sex organs, that's called the temple, especially on the woman. That's where you get the sanctuary, the temple. If you look at the sanctuary, there's one big main aisle that runs down the center. That's based on the womb of the woman. Well, you also have a temple that is the above, which is this, your head. That's why you call these the temples. That's a great clue if you want to find what is the temple. So your clavicles are the keys that open the door to the temple. Now, when you read in the Bible and you see something about a tent, you see something about a mountain, you see something about a high place, they're all talking about this. They're all talking about here. This is the temple. Now, then that gives us a greater understanding too of what it means by Solomon trapped these 72 demons in his signet ring. What I'm gonna give you, I'm telling you what the key, what the word key means, but I'm also about to give you a key. You remember the song came out where it had DJ Khaled, you know, Jay-Z, Future, Rick Ross, all these dudes was in this video in their black suits, and they were trying to make it obviously Masonic. They wanted to look mysterious, like, oh, they in that Illuminati, they in the Illuminati. You know, they're playing that, they were playing games with people who don't understand. That shit ain't have nothing to do with no keys. The keys are dealing with enlightenment. That's what the keys are. The light that is traveling up, that gets stopped at the gate. And then the key opens the gate so that the light can continue to travel and reach its ultimate destination, which is here, the crown. All right. So Solomon binds these 72 demons. And then when we go to Islam, the story, the demons then become the Djinn. Now, again, I was just telling a brother about this, about phonetic understanding of language. Listen to the word Djinn. Djinn becomes Djinn. Djinn becomes gene. Genes, DNA. Djinn also becomes genetic. Well, genetics, genes. There was something else I wanted to add to that. It'll come to me. But, oh, genie. The genie in the bottle. or the genie in the lamp. All these things are talking about enlightenment, and are talking about the illumination of your soul. So if we take it to a rudimentary understanding of your human anatomy and your physiology, the demons or the Djinn are literally your hormones. Your hormones. And see, your hormones play a major role in something called your emotions. Because if a hormone fluctuates this way, it can make your energy move in a certain way. And if your hormones go to the other way, they can make your energy move another direction. Energy and motion, emotions. So Solomon, which the name comes from the Hebrew shalom. Shalom means peace, of course. Shalom is the same as Islam. Islam, shalom, hotep, all mean peace. So, and peace means to bind together. So if Solomon temple was built with neither hammer nor nail, they're telling you that the temple is not talking about a traditional home or house. See how they give you the keys. Well, they give you the code. You got to have the keys to unlock the code. Solomon's temple was built with neither hammer nor nail. Go to 2 Kings, I think maybe chapter 7, somewhere in there, and you'll see they talk about the building of Solomon's temple, because they're talking about the mind. So if Solomon means bind, then what it's saying is Solomon tames his hormones, his genetic structure, his DNA, his whole physical being by his mind. And the binding of the mind is where you got a right brain and you got a left brain. And when those two come together and can meet in the middle, that is called the holy marriage. Now, if you understand that this is feminine and this is masculine, then you'll understand why they are perpetuating divide between men and women. The whole, I'm not gonna give this nugget up. You have to get this on the back end. But I'll just say this: the whole Me Too thing and all these other things. What is the ultimate? The ultimate power is when two opposites come together and form something new out of their union. Okay? So they are using the relationships of men and women to symbolically attack the ultimate relationship, which is inside of your mind. The ultimate, most powerful relationship is when the masculine side of your mind merges with the feminine side of your mind. It's the equivalent of somebody being ambidextrous. You know, can you imagine if you're a boxer and you got to fight somebody who's got equal punching power with their left and right hand? I mean, he's switching up. He going right-handed and he goes southpaw on you. And his power, both hands are power hands. You're going to have a long night, or you might have a really short night by getting your ass knocked out. That's the equivalent of that merger that goes on between the left and right brain. And that's why Solomon was powerful, because he represented peace, the binding of those two opposites. And when those two come together, they control the lower aspect of you. Now, this is a whole different subject that I want to talk about in another one, but I'll touch on it now. Once you understand that, you'll understand the origin of slavery. Let me give you a Ralph Smart on that shit. Slow motion. Slow motion the other way. When you understand Solomon on a deep level, you'll understand the origin of slavery. Not slavery about taking another person and controlling their body and making them do work and make them breed, have babies, and we ain't talking about that. We're talking about you are the original, you're the template of the original slave owner. See, we are put into human bodies. Yeah, Coach McGee had to give y'all some of that rap smart. We are the original slaves because we are slaves to our cosmic destiny. Our cosmic destiny holds us as slaves. That means in order for God to know itself, God has to be restricted into humanity. Okay? That's the slavery. You are a slave to having to shit and eat and sweat when it gets hot and all of the things that come along with humanity, because it is your divine destiny to have to go through that in order for God to know itself. But God gave itself some power though, okay? So that in the midst of being a human, you would have dominion over the animals. Listen to the Genesis. Over the animals, over the birds. Every fruit you can eat from. They're not, you don't just think about the earth. Think about you as the earth. Think about you. You have dominion over all of your working parts. That means if I want to heal myself, I have dominion and power to heal myself, because my hormones, my muscles, my joints, the blood in me, everything is a slave to me. I'm the original slave owner of my land. My original land mass is my body, at least in this incarnation. So that means I take command over it. So when you read, see, when we first start waking up and becoming conscious, we've all been through that thing about, we read Ephesians in the New Testament, Ephesians chapter 6, and we read about how it says, you know, be a good slave, and how the master controls the slave. And we say, see, that's how the white man used the Bible to put us in slavery. Yeah, that is, he did do that. He did use the misunderstanding of that to perpetuate slavery. That's a historical fact. But that is not the end all do all. That's not the end of the story. That's just a limited understanding. That is talking about something way deeper than some chattel slavery. It's talking about you having dominion and power over all that you survey. And you survey your human structure. Okay? So although you were cast down into a body, you were cast down into three-dimensional so-called reality, you were given the keys, baby. The motherfucking master keys. If you could find them, if you are hungry enough to want them, the master keys are available for you to take control of your reality. See, let me tell you something. One of the worst things and greatest things that happened to me was when I started having all types of business failures. I used to be very confident, and I was working magic in those days, and I wasn't even studying metaphysics. But I had put certain things in my mind, and I started attracting them. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I was able to attract them. Now, as I started going through my woes and my downturn and my temporary setbacks, I lost a great deal of confidence. Okay? But now, here's the difference. I done been through that storm, and now I've been studying through all of that, and I know why I was successful and even why I wasn't. Now I'm aware of what I possess. So now I'm starting to experience the fullness of attracting what the fuck I want to myself. Can I get a hello there? Some rap smart on y'all's ass. No, I gotta give you that slow motion to the right. Slow motion to the left. That goofy shit. But hey, that motherfucker here, shit work, don't it? But that's what's beautiful. Now, I don't have any lofty things, but I have reports, you know, of manifestation. I told y'all about how I got my little job. I told y'all about how I had the revelation that, man, the ultimate thing, sitting talking to my wife, I was like, the ultimate thing is, she's like, the ultimate thing is like if you could work from home, if you just, you know, if you didn't have to go nowhere. And I was put in the position to where I could hear certain things, line up certain things happen, even fortunate things happened that were all setting it up for me to get into the particular situation I needed to be in right now. Not the end all, but for right now. See, the only thing that exists is right now. That's all that fucking matters is right now. We see, we're given so often we're told to look to the future. And I understand that to a degree. But see, too much of looking too far down the road, and then guess what? Now never fucking happens. Well, when I retire, when I get 55, and what if you don't fucking make 55? What if you don't make 65? What about now? What are you doing with your now? See what I'm saying? So, I don't even know where I was going with that. But either way, I made my mind up what I wanted. And it happened. Freelance. The power of just the word, of the words. Freelance. Lance means light. So now that my light is free, I can be at 1 o'clock heading to the post office to take care of some business and driving in the truck and doing a YouTube live video. Now that might not seem like much to some people, but that's a big deal to me because the only thing I ever wanted since I was a child was freedom. Only reason I wanted money was for freedom. I've always wanted freedom to do what I want to do. Oh, that's why I brought up the future. Because I said it's about me doing what I'm doing right now. It's all about right now. And if I can stay in the now and I focus on controlling my now, I can bring about my long term. Ain't nothing wrong with having goals. So yeah, you still look into the future, okay? But I need to control my now to make the future come closer to me. See, this is a trick. This is I'm gonna show you an occult trick, and this is actually quantum physics. It works like this. When you get lost into working on your passions and what drives you, what inspires you, when you get lost into that, you know what happens? Time doesn't exist. That's why when you're doing something you love, you look up and 3 hours and gone by, and you're like, damn, I done burned up 3 hours. Well, that's an example of how time doesn't exist. Well, if I have a goal that seems to be way down the road, how do I make that time? See that, like, let's say this is how far my goal is. This is me now. This is my goal. How do I make those two come closer together? If I look at them linearly and I see my goal as being always here and me always there, then they'll forever maintain that distance between each other. But if I focus on where I'm at right now and what I can do right now, and my attention gets locked into creating my now, what happens without me observing the future and now start to do this with each other. They start to get closer and closer. And all of a sudden you look up and your future is right fucking now. This is magic. I'm giving you the keys, baby. This is magic. This is how it works. It's not any hocus pocus. It is you having the audacity to believe in yourself. That's magic. And you got to go back and revisit that, because the more you can know, the greater your confidence can be, and the greater your execution can be right now. Right now. See, I started Masters of the Cosmos a year ago. And although our numbers are humble, guess what I looked up the other day and I said, I have quadrupled the amount of adept members that I had when I started. And the inner sanctum members, I started out, I have 6 or 7 times the amount of people who have signed up for that inner sanctum, which I need to put up some new information for the inner sanctum folk, and that's coming. But I projected my mind first into the future before I even had a website. I had an idea. And see, with that idea, I went and talked to a brother. This brother's named Trayvon Minor. He built my website. So me and Trey sit down and talk. April of 2017. By May of 2017, that website is up. And it's active and moving. Here we are a year later, and it's growing. But see, it all started with me doing something that I did not see. I only thought it. But the key was me being able to think. And I thought of it in the now. I wasn't even thinking about a year from now. I'm thinking about, well, right now what I'm going to do is, what I have access to is I'm going to build my own thing. I got tired of people telling me when I can talk and I'm going to do my own shit. And and I'm going to set the stage for what do I think is important? What do I think is integral to teach at this very moment? So those are humble things that are going on. I can give you tons of examples of things. We're talking about manifesting. See, you don't have to have no huge, like, I'm manifesting, I'm going to hit the lottery Thursday. See, you set yourself up for failure. Your manifestation should center around things that you can take your hands and maneuver and make and bring into reality. And understand, when I say hands, I'm not literally talking about you got to go out here and make some shit. You got to go and mold some clay. Understand the symbolism of hand. The hand in Hebrew comes from yada. Yada comes from yod. Well, who was the name of the little wise sage in Star Wars? Yoda. Because Yoda means knowledge. So when I say take your hands and create, Your hands do what? They grab. I'm giving you the keys, baby. Take your hands and grab and grasp. Those are symbols of taking your mind. When you say conception, to conceive something is to take a hold of it. So when I say work your hands, I'm talking about work your mind. And you can literally work your hands. But before you work your hands, something has to send a signal to your hands to tell them how to move. Still talking about your mind. Your magic. People are afraid of that word because they are lacking confidence in themselves. Just like temporarily, I was lacking some confidence. But guess what? I'm back. The real me is back. And that's going to be trouble. That's going to be trouble. So many fucking people at the post office. And I'm sitting out here running my fucking mouth. I have so much work to do. But it's okay. I have to give you some of the fucking keys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. I'll be back with some more to talk about. But I do have to take care of business. And before you go, if you're not a subscriber, you need to be sure that you subscribe and get some of this real. If you're so compelled, you can share these conversations with your network. And as always, I remind you to stay down until you get up. And when you get up, stay down. This is Brother Paul, mastersofthecosmos.com, signing out. Peace.